Season 5, in a post-Ragnar world, we'll see a great and bitter struggle for power. We'll see some new actors, new characters.
I'm not afraid to die for my faith.
We'll take the show to new places.
The Vikings are traveling further, so we will see new imagery. North Africa, they went to Morocco to shoot there. And then Floki goes off on his own to discover Iceland.
There are a lot of amazing battles.
We're into 10 episodes, and each one has got bigger than the previous.
We've got quite a few battles going on. The big stuff that we do with those is augmenting the numbers. Say we have 200 people, we're making it an army of 4,000.
There's a lot of drama.
You are no longer my brother.
And there's a lot of character development. Stuff happening between the characters.
Most noble king, by God's grace, my lord bishop. We've heard many reports of your prowess with arms.
Eggman is hoping to convert the entire Viking world. It's a much more brutal version of Christianity. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
He was what was known at the time as a warrior bishop,
We are the wrath of God.
a precursor to the Knights Templar.
In the name of God, who is both vengeful and merciful, I swear I will make these pagans pay for their cruelty.
These are people in religious orders who actually fight.
We have defeated the Saxons. It is time to negotiate.
And that is the wrong advice as always, Ube.
This season, for the first time, you see conflict between the brothers. It's not so much a family of Vikings anymore, so we start to see the split. Personalities start to evolve, and it just shows how, in the true Viking way, they all clash, and each person starts to go on their own journey.
We're leaving.
The show just keeps getting bigger.
The fans are going to expect some shocking deaths.
More battles, more fights, more drama,
Of course I'm going to kill her!
romance, everything. Everything is in this season.
Queen Lagertha, I bring wonderful news. The great army led by your son, Bjorn Ironside, succeeded in avenging the death of Ragnar Lothbrok.
In the beginning of season 5, Lagertha is queen. She's running Kattegat. She has a lot of responsibility in terms of making decisions, what's best for her people. Kattegat becomes really the major city in Norway. So with that comes a lot of threats.
She's determined to try and protect it, but she's also determined to rule it well.
She has seen enough bloodshed in her lifetime, and she wants to make decisions and try to rule in a different way. Also trying to rule in a more intellectual way than necessarily her male counterparts.
Today marks a new dawn for Kattegat, for all of us.
Lagertha has been betrayed by many men. Obviously by Ragnar in season 1, her second husband. Kalf betrayed her by trying to usurp her. Astrid, her new lover in season 4, betrayed her by sleeping with her son. And also being a woman who's in a position of power and being betrayed by other people who want to overthrow her and take over Kattegat. So she's in a constant position of, who do I trust?
Are you really going to allow Lagertha to escape her punishment?
No.
You must have revenge.
Ivor wants to kill her and take revenge for killing his mother. And the other sons are also either want to overthrow her or take Kattegat from her.
Lagertha's a fascinating character. I've thrown just about everything at her. She's had to fight for everything she's got.
I think the fans are going to be very excited for season 5. The fans are going to expect some shockers, some crazy surprises, and it's so far one of my favorite seasons.
My name is Jonathan Rhys-Myers and I play Bishop Eggman. Bishop Eggman is a Christian warrior. He's the Bishop of Sherborne. His allegiance is to King Aethelwulf, King of Wessex.
This place is full of ghostly memories.
God help those who did this. If King Edward's body is here, let us find it.
I needed a new character in the show who could at least inspire some hope in these dismal times, and when all the Saxon forces are splintered and incapable of responding to the great heathen army. So here we have this rather glamorous knight, this warrior bishop, as a possible redeeming feature for the Saxons and for England.
We must clean and restore this place despoiled by those heathen barbarians. Tell the people who fled from here that it's safe to return.
Yes, Your Grace.
Eggman is hoping to convert the entire Viking world. They haven't received the blessing of the true Lord, of Christ. However, from being in their world, he realizes so many of the similarities between how we worship as Christians and how they worship as pagans. He is starting to understand what their belief systems are, their gods, Odin, Thor, Freya, how important these are to them.
Eggman is clearly an interesting man. He himself is torn between earthly desires and spiritual belief.
I have sinned in thought and in deed. Please forgive me, three-person God. Punish me. Ravish me. Cleanse me of my sin.
He's a great sensualist. He's an amazing warrior, but very aware of his sinful nature and at war with himself.
I think faith for Eggman is 24 hours of doubt and 1 moment of hope in every day. He is constantly at conflict with the nature of what God is, what Christ is, and what his purpose is.
Amen.
Amen.
But at the same time, he believes that he is put in situations because God, as God's chosen warrior, God has presented him with this opportunity, an opportunity to evolve, get closer to Eggman's final goal, which is to die gloriously in battle and to be seated at the right hand of the Father.
I do not want to follow you, Ivor. You are crazy. You have the mind of a child. You make me laugh.
Shut your mouth!
Ivor, do not listen to him.
No, I guess it must be hard for you now that your mum is dead, knowing she's the only one who ever really loved you.
Ivor.
Ivor!
I think Ivor is in a weird position because in the beginning of season 5, he just killed his own brother. I think he is genuinely sad and scared of himself in a way because he lost control and he never wants to lose control. You know, that wasn't him talking, throwing the axe. That was rage.
The thing about Ivor is he doesn't recognize limits. So these psychological things that help most of us control our emotions or know when to stop pushing boundaries, he has none of that, which makes him really frightening, because you know that if he can kill his brother in an argument, he can do anything.
I know what you're all thinking, but it is not true. I didn't mean to kill him. He made me kill him. He taunted me, he made fun of me. What was I supposed to do? Ivor's emotional journey is complicated. He has a lot of ambitions and he's trying to take over and become the leader of the great heathen army.
He doesn't want to become a farmer. He has no intention of settling down. He's just beginning to see the glory that is ahead of him.
I remember doing a scene where he just won his first battle as the leader. And the way he celebrates is by getting a huge tattoo on his back. I mean, like, he is extreme in every form.
What I think is amazing is that despite the things that Ivor does and why he does them, which is even more astonishing, you don't altogether lose sympathy for him because of his struggles.
Did you take a look around? The work on strengthening the defenses is going well.
Why do you need a personal bodyguard, Ivor? Do you need protection against us, against your brothers?
Of course not.
Then why have them?
I'm a cripple. I need a bodyguard. He has been observing for his entire life because he has not been able to physically be a part of the Viking culture. And I think that has made him very clever.
He had to do, as he says himself, he always had to do better than his brothers to get to the same end, to be famous, despite his condition. And of course it was Ragnar's great fear, his only real fear, was that his sons would become more famous than he was. And you can already tell that Ivor intends to be more famous than his father.
In the first half of season 5, you find Bjorn in the midst of this chaos that was created by the brutal murder of his brother. So this season, you're going to start seeing this conflict over the kingdom of Kattegat.
Sometimes we have to consider things beyond our feelings and think what is best for our people.
I know what our people want, Bjorn.
Bjorn is the head of the family, effectively. Certainly feels he should be. He's the oldest son. But there are dynamics within the family that are already threatening that position.
Why do you think Father chose me to come with him to England? He had a reason for doing so. He told me I was the one who would act for him, who would make sure he was revenged. I understand it must be hard for you to accept that the true heir to the great Ragnar Lothbrok should turn out to be a cripple and a rejected.
Ragnar chose to take Ivor to England as the means to revenge the death that he saw coming. So Ivor has always felt very special, as if his father had chosen him to lead the family forward. So there's conflict between Bjorn and Ivor from the beginning.
It seems the only thing that really kept the sons of Ragnar together was the death of their father.
Poor Bjorn, it is you who doesn't want to keep the army together. It is you who wants to go away to sunny places. Everyone else can follow me.
Bjorn and Ragnar shared the same dream, which was to explore and set up new settlements for their people. Bjorn's kind of the outcast in that sense. And he comes to the realization that what's more important above and beyond is fulfilling his father's dream and also exploring for himself.
Bjorn is desperate to return to the Mediterranean. Since finding that map in the raid on Paris, it's haunted him. He feels it's his fate. And it's, in a sense, a good opportunity to avoid the conflicts he can see about to happen within the family dynamic. And to pursue his own future, his own dreams, his own fate.
You cannot leave him in charge of the great army.
I told you this is none of my concern. I plan to return to the Mediterranean.
When Ivar kills Sigurd, Bjorn kind of extricates himself from that whole situation, and he has to follow his path. And he does. Season 5 is magnificent. It's truly incredible. It's very new. There's a lot of new cast and a lot of really great actors that I've had the incredible opportunity to work with and learn from. And together, I think we've created something pretty special.
Farewell, my heart. Farewell. For now.
At the beginning of season 5, Floki has pretty much lost everything. He's lost his daughter, he's lost his best friend, and now he's also lost his wife. So he feels that he has nothing to live for anymore in this world.
He feels almost as if he's died, or certainly something inside him has died, and he has to leave.
What I am now is nothing. And all this nothing I give to the gods to do with as they please. And I shall be an empty ship with no rudder set upon their endless sea.
As he says in the end of season 4, he kind of submits himself to the gods. He's kind of realized that whatever he's tried before hasn't worked. The violence and the killing, and he's had it with all that.
Floki! Why are you building a toy boat? Huh?
It's not a toy. It's a one-man boat.
And where do you think you're going to sell it to?
To where the gods decide.
So he makes a boat for himself. A small boat, a boat that one man can handle. And without taking any navigational equipment at all, he sails away in it, trusting that the gods will take him somewhere. He's both escaping from something and trying to arrive somewhere.
He has this kind of awakening. He's kind of reborn in a pagan sense. He regathers his strengths and he becomes strong again. Certainly, Floki interprets it ultimately as being that he has died and been reborn. So it's a different Floki that we see in season 5. Floki has always been very weighted down by his own demons, and he's been very aggressive, and he's been very hateful, and it hasn't led him to anything good ever. So I think, like, for him to motivate his own existence, he has to kind of give himself to a greater cause. He wants to be a better person, or to be something he wasn't before.
At the start of 5, Uber's in a bit of a predicament, to put it lightly. His mum's died, his dad's died, and now his little brother's died. And it's the first time you see conflict between the brothers.
You cannot leave him in charge of the great army. That is your affair, Uber. Yours, big brother. You take charge. I told you this is none of my concern.
Each of the brothers' personalities start to evolve. Ivor gets more and more like Ivor, and Uber starts to go on his own journey and starts to get thinking about the future more.
Well, we're beginning really to see the most important crack in the family between Uber and Ivor.
Speaking for our father, I think we should claim and settle the land given to us by Egbert. Saxons are in disarray. This is a good opportunity. We have the resources to make a permanent settlement.
They represent different aspects of the Viking culture. Uber is very much like his father in that he's more interested in getting farming land, in settling, in fulfilling his father's dreams. Ivor has no intention of stopping fighting.
We should establish a permanent camp, as you say, but near the coast, from where we can raid wherever we want.
He doesn't want to become a farmer. He has no intention of settling down. He's just beginning to see the glory that is ahead of him.
When Ragnar left, he kind of took over the father role. Bjorn was doing his own thing, and I think he's looked after his brothers. They grew up so closely together, as young Vikings would. And when Sigurd gets killed, it just shows Ivor's true colors. So Uberkin has to take a back step and watch his brother. He wants to love and protect him and keep that family together, but Ivor's so hard to control, and I think Uber doesn't know where to fit in that. He can't guide him anymore.
For the greatest army ever assembled.
And they will be our instruments.
Our instruments of wrath.
I think Uber might have underestimated Ivor. You never know what he's going to do from second to second.
In a sense, Uber is perhaps the more sympathetic character, and he's very intelligent. But that doesn't mean to say that, strangely enough, we lose all sympathy for Ivor. Well, they're both complex.
Uber's still figuring out his destiny. Although, Uber wants to settle down, but he's also the son of Ragnar, so he's got that drive inside him too.